Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. That's my sofa, this is my dog Roscoe, and my name's Paul. Now today we are going to be traveling all the way to South Carolina from North Carolina where I'm at to talk about some of the updates and some of the recent going-ons and the most bizarre case that I think I've ever seen come out of South Carolina, at least in recent times. Recently meaning last few years. That's not saying something. But this is about Alex Murdaugh. Y'all, this case, it seems like every time I see something about it, it's going to the left, it's going to the right, it's going up and down. I mean, there's so many twists and turns to this, y'all. It is crazy. So what I want to do is I'm going to literally give like a very quick, like this is the general gist of this in case you've forgotten or haven't followed it recently or in case you're new. Again, there's so much going on with this case, so it's near impossible to do it in one of these videos, and what I want to focus on in this video in particular is some of the lawsuits that are taking place with this, because more and more is coming out about this guy, and the more that comes out, I'm like, whoa, the level of corruption and just evilness with him is astounding. So quickly to update, Alex's wife, Maggie, as well as their youngest son, Paul, they were both found fatally shot outside of the family home. This was on June 7th. Now, here's the thing, and this is just another one of the levels to this that adds suspicion or whatever, but Alex is the one that found them, okay? And we'll talk more about what I think about that as we get going and whatnot, but regardless, since that event has taken place, there has been this like lid that's been lifted on Alex and all of his unethical and illegal business doings. Since then, so much has happened. He's, gotten shot in the head, gone to rehab for substance abuse. He's been arrested. He's currently in jail on no bond. You name it, it has happened, and those are just a few of the things. Now, again, like I said, for today's video, what I want to focus on are some of these fraudulent business dealings that are coming out. Not really even business dealings, but stealing, okay? It's what this man's been doing. I mean, this is just a story of corruption and greed, entitlement. I mean, you name it. So he's been accused of stealing from numerous people, his family, his law firm, victims, and he's continuing to re-victimize these same victims, like through legal proceedings at this point. Okay, so he's been indicted on 27 new financial crimes. Okay, this is across 5 different counties, and it's like for right under $5 million. Okay, now I'm just going to read off some of these charges and what they relate to. 4 counts of breach of trust with fraudulent intent, 7 counts of obtaining signature or property by false pretenses, 7 counts of money laundering, 8 counts of computer crimes, and 1 count of forgery. Now, in one of the articles that I've linked below, they cite in that article that, a lot of these cases that they're now coming up in these new charges and stuff, they haven't really been made public. Like, this is like new stuff if you've been following the case or whatever. Okay, and they even cited one specific example that I was just like, I mean, this man literally has no soul. So this one was a highway patrolman. He was injured in the line of duty, and Alex stole his settlement money. Now, again, this isn't just the only person. We're going to talk about the former housekeeper, because that's like a central thing going on that just will turn your stomach. The prosecutors are alleging that Murdaugh stole settlement money for, and I quote, his own personal use for expenses including but not limited to overdraft fees, cash, and checks written to associates. Now at this point, we know that he's been screaming, I have an opioid addiction and all this kind of stuff or whatever. Regardless, y'all, the ties that this family and him have to the area, the community, the state. I mean, so many people say they are the law. Okay, we're talking money, 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 old money, money, money. And the fact that this dude is like ripping people off to this level to cover up whatever it is that he is spending this money on, which it could be drugs, okay? We don't know. We're trying to figure that out, and he's doing everything he can to block people finding that out. But regardless, the fact that he is representing people and then stealing their money absolutely flies in the face of justice and law and basic decent human being morals and decency. Okay, so let's go ahead and revisit the case of his former housekeeper. One of them, her name is Gloria Satterfield. Now, she wasn't just like, oh, somebody who came and worked for a little bit and an accident happened. Y'all, she worked for over 2 decades for this family, okay? Now, she would lose her life. She had like a slip and fall type situation happen at the home. She lost her life due to this. And Alec, of course, was, working with the whole situation of the wrongful death suit. So you see what I mean when it's like, okay, he's going to steal from a cop, steal from the family of the victim of this housekeeper. I mean, a lot of people who have, people that work in their homes like this and whatnot, and this is not everybody, but a lot of times these people are like extended family, okay? And so the fact that I'm just like, you stole the settlement money. Not only did he do that, but he finagled it to be able to do it. I mean, there's like a lot going on there. Now, also, keep in mind, this is what he's being held on no bond for. So, now there's other charges, not just that, but he's gotten himself into other issues or whatever along the way. But what I'm getting at is that he hasn't been charged, and he's not being held over what took place with his wife and his son, Paul. Again, we'll talk about my opinions on that in just a minute. Now, in relation to the housekeeper, he's been charged with 2 counts of obtaining goods under false pretenses after allegations that he stole approximately $4.3 million in insurance payouts from the Satterfield heirs. Okay, now let's talk about the legal moves that his attorneys have taken in regards to these payouts, because literally when I read this, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Who in their right mind would do this? Apparently this guy. Okay, now I'm going to quote this from the article, and again, this article is down in the description below. This came from, Bluffington Today. It's by Michael M. DeWitt Jr. So I'm just going to quote this real quick because it needs to be specifically the way it's written here. His attorneys recently filed a motion to dismiss claims against Murdaugh in this suit because other parties have already paid settlements or stay the lawsuit until his criminal proceedings are over, end quote. Okay, so, and we're going to get to what the family heirs attorneys is saying here in just one second. Like, they sum it up for those of us that aren't really lawyers. So let's just go ahead and read that. Now, again, this is from the same article written by the same guy. Links in the description if you want to read the whole thing. I implore you to. It's very interesting. I'm just talking about like the juice of it. Okay, so Eric Bland, he represents the victim's estate, right? So the heirs to the former housekeeper. So this is what Eric Bland is saying. I fully expected Alex Murdaugh to take the Fifth Amendment on this case, but I did not expect this ridiculous proposition. Basically, Alex is now saying that, yeah, I may have stolen the money, but you have been made whole, so I get to keep the stolen money. It's an arrogant proposition that he should get to declare the Satterfields have been made whole and not a judge or jury. Okay, so basically, yeah, that's what he's saying is like, look, these other entities have paid that off. They've been paid off for that, so I shouldn't have to pay it. So I might have done this and all that, but it's this legal maneuvering that you're just like, are you kidding me? Like, all the allegations that are coming out against him, you would think that they would be like, let's go ahead and, do the right thing, save face, yada, yada, yada. But no, he is buckling down and still trying to do whatever. I mean, at this point, I wonder, is the man bankrupt and that's what he's doing because he doesn't have anything to, to pull from at this point? I mean, like, how in debt is he and to how many people? Now, remember, his own law firm is suing him, claiming that the firm alleges that he developed a systemic scheme in which he diverted funds owed to the firm and to clients to a fictitious entity for many years. So, I mean, come on. This guy's been doing this for a long time, so he might be completely broke or whatever. I'm not making an excuse for him and saying his behavior is okay because he's broke, because it absolutely isn't. But I'm just trying to find any kind of reasoning as to why in God's name he would feel so entitled to do all this. Now, he is not responding to those allegations made by his law firm basically about due to like self-incriminating and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, okay, that's again expected with that. Now, like I said earlier, he is incarcerated, he is on no bond, and this is what I found interesting about the no bond thing. Now, remember, he also got hit with the charges in relation to him trying to not fake his own death, but set that whole scenario up where he got shot in the head, and then it turns out he was paying somebody to do it to get the insurance money. Yeah, that whole thing. Okay, so there's that, right? So obviously his lawyers are fighting tooth and nail. They're going to get grimy. They're going to do whatever they have to do. Okay, so they had gone to the judge and they're like, look, our client deserves bail. And at that time, the judge was just like, no, you know what? This probably isn't good. Kind of a danger to, himself and others, but I'll consider it again after we do a little bit of a psych eval. Now, even once that psych eval was going to come back, if he was going to even do it, I mean, this wasn't going to be he can just go do what he wants to. This was going to be like, hey, he can go back to his drug rehab in Florida type situation, because remember, that's where he was arrested from. Okay, so there's that. So he goes and does the psych eval. Well, the judge got that back, and he was like, oh, hell no. Now, at that point, obviously, I mean, here's the thing. There's so much corruption and good old boy in this case that if somebody were going to let him out, right? I mean, I'm sorry, but he's already tried to allegedly take his life once, right? So it would be insane to see a judge let this guy back out on any condition, okay? Because it's like he tried it once. I mean, this dude has nothing to lose at this point. So, I mean, come on, like, not a good idea for him to be out. So the judge was like, yeah, not so much. So he remains in jail, no bond, and that's where he sits. And personally, in my own opinion about that, that's where he belongs. So again, let's circle back around to what happened to his wife and son, right? Okay, so here's my thing. Again, now he innocent until proven guilty. No charges have, come up against him with this. Look at the scandal that he pulled when it comes to that whole, I was changing a tire on the side of the road and someone drove by and shot me in the head, but I was okay. And I mean, come on. So the level of desperation, and this man does not seem to have like a low, right? I mean, he's ripping off his housekeeper's family, cops in the line of duty, you name it. So my own personal opinion, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an attorney, I'm not any of that stuff. I'm going to be shocked if it comes back that he did not have something to do with what happened to his wife and son. There's a part of me, just for the sake of humanity, that would like to hope he didn't, right? Because that's even like, how much more horrible can you get, right? But the fact that he found them so soon after, something's not adding up here. And his connections in this area, I mean, again, they run very deep. Now, everyone is seeming to turn their back and kind of start shunning him, as they should, and, separate themselves, including his family, his law firm, all these people. So we'll have to see with that. So anyways, that's it for today. I appreciate you hanging out watching. Again, we're going to be following this case. It kind of has been dormant for a while, and I've been, watching other cases and whatnot and kind of consumed with that. So when I started going back down, the rabbit hole in this, I was like, what? I mean, just more and more comes out about this. So anyways, thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate you making this sofa possible. And until we gather back around that old sofa right there next time, we'll see you soon.